and welcome to City Beat. We are your central source of news and information for the city of Rocky Mount. I'm your host, Tamika Keenan-Norman, and recently the city of Rocky Mount has heard some concerns from residents via social media about high winter utility bills. So we want to address those concerns during today's entire show. We want to talk about tips to reduce your utility bills. We want to talk about why your bills may be a little higher than normal, how we rate in comparison to neighboring utilities, and also the debt. So joining me today is Rich Warsinger, our Director of Energy Resources, and that's the department responsible for providing electric and natural gas service to the city, right?
That's correct. Hello, Tamika. I'm glad to be here. Looking forward to sharing some information, addressing these concerns. So glad to be here.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us today. And I think from those comments that I read, folks are talking about their most recent bill regarding usage in January. But January was a really cold month.
It was.
Yeah, so how cold was January?
Well, January was bitter cold. January was 31% colder than the last 5 winters. It was, as you recall, there were days we were down into the teens and we were into the single digits, and day after day after day. And that basically just takes the heat out of your house. You know, one day is one thing, but day after day after day, it just gets colder and colder in the house. And that causes your house heater to run more frequently, in some cases just run continuously, trying to keep your house warmer.
How else does that impact that heating system, especially when there's a difference inside the house versus that cold temperature outside?
Well, the bigger that differential is between what it is inside and what it is outside, that house heater is trying to make it up. The bigger that differential is, the more that house heater has to run. The more it's running, the more energy it's using, whether it's you heat your home with electricity or if you heat your home with natural gas. And then that greater usage is what causes these high bills, the high utility bills that our customers got February based on that January usage. And you know, Tamika, let me just mention, we recognize the burden this places on our citizens, our customers. They're struggling to make ends meet. They're struggling to pay their bills every month. Maybe they look what a typical winter bill is, and then to get this bill that's so much higher, it's a shocker. And they're facing that decision: how do I pay this bill? How do I pay for my groceries? How do I pay for my medicine? And I'm going to mention this, and I'll mention it a couple more times throughout the segment. If someone is having trouble paying their utility bill, please contact us. Contact our customer service department. The number is 252-972-1250. The people that work there are going to work with our customers to come up with pay arrangements, spread this out over the spring months where the heating costs are greatly diminished, and thereby would have lower bills.
Okay, and so recognizing citizen concerns as well, I want to talk about some tips to help folks save energy and decrease the cost of that bill. So you talked about the temperature, but what setting should your home be on to kind of decrease that cost and decrease energy usage?
Great question. The experts recommend that we keep our house set at 68 degrees in the wintertime. And that 68 degrees is when we're there. If we're not there during the day or at night when we're sleeping, that can be reduced. Now it gets a little complicated. It depends what you use to heat your home. If you heat your home with gas, it's easy to set that thermostat down to 62 degrees when you're not there, 62 while you're sleeping. Or even better is to have an automatic setback thermostat that will do that for you automatically. But if you heat your home with a heat pump, they don't respond well to those changes in temperature. Now you can do it if you have an automatic setback thermostat for a heat pump, because that will gradually reduce that temperature and gradually bring it back up. But we recommend you don't do that yourself. See, what happens if you turn that heat up too quick, the heat pump can't bring that heat up as fast, and the heat strips actually come on. Those are the resistance heaters that are in the ductwork. And they are inefficient. They'll quickly warm the house, but they're very inefficient and they're very costly to use.
Okay. Speaking of costly, I want to go back to the bills for a moment because we had an increase, or customers experienced an increase in the cost of natural gas. And that's because the cost to purchase that natural gas increased for us, correct?
That's right. We buy, as a utility, we buy our natural gas on the natural gas market. Our gas comes to us, most of it is coming from the Gulf area, and we're paying to bring that gas up here. Well, what happened in early January, there was just an because of the cold weather and that Duke is now using natural gas to generate electricity, there was a greatly increased demand on the availability of that natural gas on the pipeline. So the cost to buy that natural gas skyrocketed. In fact, it skyrocketed so much, it made me question, is there price manipulation? Is there gouging going on here? So we actually met with a representative from the State Attorney General's office back in the middle of January, discussed this with him, and he said this certainly does not seem to be the way that natural gas market should operate. Your cities certainly were negatively affected by this. There's no way you could have foreseen this. And he said he's going to go back and talk with his colleagues and see if this in fact does constitute price gouging, and if it does, then how that can be addressed. Now we're waiting to hear back from him. We'll check with him in another week or two and just see what he's come up with.
Okay, gotcha. Now, let's talk about some other things too, because one of the things that the city is involved in is load management, the load management program. Tell me a little bit about that program, how it works, and how you can save money as well with it.
Sure. Load management program, that's on our electric utility. We buy our electricity each month, and we pay for that peak demand, however that high that demand is at that peak during the month. If we can reduce that peak, that reduces our cost. And so we have a way for our residential customers to help with this. It's called our load management program. And we have load management switches that we can install on their hot water heater, on the heat strips in their heat pump, and on their air conditioner.
Okay.
And we, back when we had our rate decrease this past July, we actually increased the value of those credits to our customers. The biggest one, we used to give people a credit of only $2 for having the switch on their hot water heater. We now give a credit each month of $7.50.
Okay.
So you have that on your hot water heater all year round. That's a $90 credit. That to me that's big money.
Okay.
In fact, if you participate on those load management programs for the hot water heater and the heat strips and the air conditioner, that I believe is $225 a year in credit we will give you. That's significant money.
It is.
So how does the program work? We have this switch on your hot water heater. Hot water heater is a tank with 40, 50 gallons of hot water in it. When that water starts coming out of there, the hot water heater would come on. If it's during that peak period, we don't let that hot water heater come on to replenish that hot water in the tank. But you're still able to get hot water out of that tank to take your shower, wash your dishes, etc. I can tell you we've had the switch on at our house for years. Back when we had children at home, teenagers, we never ran out of hot water. I know that's always a fear. We don't charge to put this switch on at people's homes, and if after we install it you decide it's not for you, we'll come back out and take it out, again at no cost. There's really no risk to our customers.
Okay, okay. So encourage folks to get involved in that.
Please do. It's another way to save money.
Okay. Energy Share, that's another way to save money.
Yes.
Yes, cash rebates possible on some improvements to your home. So tell me a little bit about how Energy Share works and how much you can save with that too.
Energy Share is a great program. We provide a rebate to customers who have taken some measures to increase the energy efficiency of their homes. There's 3 areas we do this. First is in increasing the attic insulation. That we found is the lowest cost way to make your home more energy efficient. We will provide a rebate of up to $500 to have your attic properly insulated. In most cases, the size of homes here in Rocky Mount, that $500 covers most, if not all, of the cost of adding the proper attic insulation in your home. It's kind of like putting another blanket on when you're in bed. It keeps you warm. It keeps that heat in your house. So that's a rebate of up to $500. The second one is a rebate of up to $1,000 to replace your home heating air conditioning unit, HVAC unit. Now that won't pay for the entire unit, but that $1,000 will certainly help towards it. And there are some minimum efficiency standards. It's basically just meeting what is the minimum code requirement for an energy efficient heating HVAC unit. The third rebate is for up to $250, and that's for increasing or replacing, upgrading the ductwork in your home. Some of the ductworks in houses is not properly insulated, it might not be properly attached, but we'll provide a rebate of up to $250 to do that. So that's $500 for attic insulation, another $1,000 for the HVAC unit, another $250 for the ductwork. It's a great way to help people properly upgrade their homes to be more energy efficient.
You know, I have to reference this box that has been sitting here, the
Sure.
energy efficiency kit, and that deals with your energy audits. I know you
Yes.
have technicians coming to the home, let you know how you can save money. And this was interesting because we had an energy audit on my home recently, and they told me about a low flow shower head, which is working well to help us decrease the cost to our water bill. But tell me a little bit more about that, some of those other type of tools that they can provide and common tips.
Yes, energy audits. We do an energy audit at no cost. When somebody signs up for this, our technicians, the first thing they do is they're going to look at what your energy usage has been for the past year.
Okay.
Look and see if there's anything that kind of looks out of the ordinary. Then they come to your home and they're going to sit down with you and talk about who lives in your home, how many people. Are they there during the day? Are you away during the day? Where do you keep your thermostat? How do you heat your home? Is it electricity? Is it natural gas? Do you supplement it maybe by burning wood? All these different things, so they have an understanding of what you do. Then they have an iPad that has a questionnaire they fill out, and then they're going to look through your home. They're going to go from the attic down to the crawl space, checking to see how much insulation you have on each and everything in between. Is the weather stripping on the windows in good condition? What setting do you actually have on your thermostat? What's the temperature of the hot water? A lot of people don't realize the temperature. You know, a lot of people do this. You run that hot water in the sink, it gets real hot. You put your hand underneath if it's too hot to stay underneath. So to make it touch-worthy, you know, so it doesn't burn you,
Right.
you turn some cold water on then.
Okay.
Well, the better way to do that is reduce the temperature of the hot water at the hot water tank down to 120 degrees. Then you're heating the level to what you need, not overheating it and then have to cooling it down. These are the kind of things.
I do that all the time. What you just mentioned.
Well,
when it's too hot, I do it all the time. So that's a great tip. Yeah.
And there's also a safety aspect for this, especially if you have children. I know as you do, or elderly. Sometimes they'll get scalded, so we can turn or help you turn down that thermostat on your hot water heater so that you're not heating that temperature up too high that then you have to cool it down.
Okay.
The other thing that our technicians do is they're going to bring this energy efficiency kit with them, and this is going to leave with you some things that'll help you use less energy. So I'm going to go through this kit with you now if we can. So inside this kit we've got a number of goodies. First, there are 3 LED light bulbs. Back a few years ago, we were giving away the compact fluorescent light bulbs, the little curly Q bulbs. Now the LED light bulbs are available. These are even more efficient than those compact fluorescents. So we're going to give you 3 of these. And by the way, that's a give. There's no charge for this.
Okay.
So we leave this with our customers. There is a little packet of dye here. This is to be put in the toilet tank to see if your toilet is leaking. You know, sometimes the gaskets inside are bad and that water is running and that wastes water. So this, even though we're doing that energy audit for electric and gas, this is something to help people save water also. So we've got this packet. Then we have a filter whistle. This can just pop this right into your HVAC system filter, and it will whistle when that filter is getting clogged, alerting you that it needs to be changed. So you can pop it out of the old filter, put it in the new filter, put it back in there with the filter whistle. Then we've got a couple little digital thermometers.
Okay.
One of these you can put inside your refrigerator, see what the temperature is inside your refrigerator. Maybe put the other one inside the freezer, see are they at the temperatures they need to be. You can also put one of these over by your thermostat and see is the temperature in that thermostat, or maybe put it in that remote room to see how cold does it actually get there. So it'll help you diagnose what's happening in your home. And then last, we have some weather stripping to help maybe supplement, replace some weather stripping around doors or windows that needs to be replaced.
Okay.
So again, this is all provided to our customers at no charge.
Now, Rich, say it's been years since you've had an audit done. Is it possible for technicians to come in again, kind of to
absolutely.
reassess?
Absolutely. You know, we don't want to do one of these, you know, twice a month.
Right.
But you know, maybe change in ownership. You've done some things in your home. Yeah, we'd be happy to come out. And the one thing I failed to mention is, all right, at the end of the audit, what do? There is a report generated that we will either mail to you, or we can email it to you, or both if a customer wants it that way. And it summarizes everything that we found, along with those recommendations on things you can do that are either at no cost or low cost, or maybe even at a cost, but lets you pick and choose where you want to spend your money to more efficiently operate your home.
Okay. And since you're talking about operation and usage and all that, one of the comments that I get on social media a lot is, well, I turned all the lights off in my room. So how
Yes.
does that really affect your bill, or does it have a huge impact?
It does help, but the help is very small. The number one energy user in your home is your home heating air conditioning system, by far. That's number one. And that's why we talk about have the rebate for that attic insulation, so that that heat is not leaving your home, so that the heater doesn't have to run as much. The number two energy user in your home is your hot water heater. Number three is your refrigerator. Number four would be that freezer some people might have in the garage. So lighting gets down there a lot lower. And when people nowadays are heating or lighting more and more with the LED fixtures or those compact fluorescents, turning them off, it really doesn't save a lot of money. We still should do it. It's being good stewards of our resources, but the biggest ways to save is it's your home heat, and then hot water heat, and your refrigerator.
I want to go back to something that I stated earlier too, which was when I had my energy audit done, which was years ago. We got that low flow shower head,
Yes.
I think it's called. So I talked about the water bill and decreasing that. But, you know, all of that is part of your utility bill, right?
It is.
Because when I was growing up, my mom always said the light bill, the light bill, the light bill. But it's more than just electric. It's more than just natural gas.
It is. We bill for all the different city services on one bill. So that's electricity, natural gas, water, wastewater, trash, recycling, stormwater. So there's 7 different services that are on one bill. And it's nice that you only have to write one check. And sometimes people will compare their light bill from Rocky Mount with their light bill maybe from a coworker that lives in Nashville who is served by Duke. Well, that energy bill, that light bill in Nashville is only one service. It's just electricity. Ours is a multi-service bill. And so I tell people, let's compare apples to apples. Look at the electric portion of your bill, look at the Duke portion. And then you'll be making a more accurate comparison.
True. And I know you've told me this before, and just talking to you today, I believe what you've said is that what drives your bill too is your usage.
Yes.
It's the weather, which we've discussed, and it's the rate.
That's right.
Right. And I want to talk about our rate, but before that, I want to get into the debt a little bit, because I know
Okay.
that's something that's been coming up a lot. Take us back. We're going to go back to the 70s, Rich.
Oh,
I know
okay.
you were a young child back then. But let's go back to the 70s. Tell me a little bit about the scope of what went on with our debt.
Sure.
How we got into debt at first.
Going back to the 70s, that was when our country was experiencing the energy crisis. That's when it first became, we were told to keep our thermostats set at 68 degrees, and there was this demand for energy. And so here in North Carolina, they needed to build more generating plants, electric generating plants. We, the cities, needed a supply of electricity. We partnered with then Carolina Power and Light in some of these power plants, the last one being the Harris nuclear plant. In late, around 1979, I believe it was, there was the incident at 3 Mile Island nuclear plant, the meltdown. That caused that construction at the Harris nuclear plant to stop. There were tremendous cost overruns. Rocky Mount, as being one of the part owners of that plant, we were on the hook for the costs. So we had to borrow, actually through the power agency, borrowed a lot of money to pay for that. So we were saddled with those high wholesale power costs, a lot driven by the debt. And that was up until 2015. 2015, a great thing happened. The power agency sold its ownership in these various generating plants. That paid off that debt. And we now have wholesale power costs that are low, and it allowed us to reduce our electric rates. And a lot of people still don't believe this, but our residential electric rate in Rocky Mount is lower than our neighboring co-ops. And for those customers who take part in our load management program, it's actually lower than Duke and Dominion. Now, if you don't partake in it, we're still on par with Duke and Dominion, but if you do, let us give you that rebate for, or that credit for that switch on your hot water heater, etc. Our bills are lower than Duke and Dominion. In fact, we're lower than the U.S. average. We're lower, our rates are lower than everywhere except 4 of the 46 states. That is such a change.
It is. It is.
It's tremendous.
And you can actually see that comparison on the city's website as well, right?
We do. We've had that comparison there actually for years. Back when we didn't compare favorably, we showed that, as I call it, we were in the 3rd tier of the states. There were about 17 states that were higher than us, but everybody else was lower than us. We're now at the bottom now of the low-cost providers.
Okay. And you know, I know you mentioned in the beginning of this interview how, you know, you hear folks' concerns, you understand their concerns. So as a part of that, you know, our customer service department is willing to help.
Yes.
Right. Yes. So tell us some of the things that they can do for us as well.
Well, the first thing is contact us. Stop in and see the people in our customer service department, or give us a call. Let us know your situation. We realize these bills are high, and we want to work with you. You know, your bill's running along from that October, November, and then it spikes up in the winter and then drops back down again. Well, we'll help you take that high amount and pay it off in the lower months. So please contact us. Another thing people can do is sign up for the budget billing program. That you pay the same amount every month, and then at the end of the year there's a true up. If you owe us more, we owe you, and then that way you're paying that levelized amount every month.
Exactly.
And pay your bill online. A lot of people take advantage of that. There's no charge for that. It's nice. You put the bill on your credit card, and you don't have to come in, don't have to write a check. But the most important thing is talk with us. We'll set up those pay arrangements. We recognize how difficult this is. We want to work with you.
And I think one of the other things, too, that I spoke with Amy Staten, our finance director, about is that due date option as well. There are certain dates throughout the month that you can pay your bill.
Yes, and you can select what that due date is. And it might be, you know, maybe your rent payment is due one week, and it's difficult to pay the rent and to pay your utility bill, so maybe we can move that back a couple weeks. Maybe, you know, this is the time you've got another bill due, so you can stagger those bills out. We're happy to work with people to do that.
Absolutely, and always you can access this information on our website as well. And that number to remember is 972-1250.
That's right, 972-1250.
All right, thank you so much, Rich. Anything that we missed that you want to discuss?
Just again, I am thrilled that for the first time in my career here that we have residential electric rates that are on par or lower than all of our competitors. And I'm really thrilled about this because this helps our citizens here in Rocky Mount to have money to spend elsewhere, not on their utility bills.
All right. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Rich Warsinger, our Director of Energy Resources. I'm Tamika Keenan Norman. Thanks so much for tuning in to this edition of City Beat. We'll see you next week.